Hey, Chicago, what do you say? It's the CHGO Cubs podcast presented by DraftKings, America's top-rated sportsbook. Make sure you download the app and then use the promo code CHGO when you sign up. Luke Stuckmeyer here on a, Wednesday?
Yeah, Wednesday, hump day.
Along with Cody Delmendo, the founding father of Delmetrics, and Ryan Herrera, bench 275.
I did.
We're ready to talk a little Cubs with you. I see the chat is up and ready, waiting for us. Thanks for waiting. Here's a Devers. There's a Devers. Everybody wants a Devers, says Gary Ross. One of the topics we will talk about today is the let's make a deal for Rafael Devers. Is it possible for the Cubs? What would you be willing to give up for Rafael Devers? And then later in the show, we're going to talk about our slogans. You know, the Cubs slogan for 2022 was, "It's different here." If we could go back and redo that slogan for 2022, what are some of the ideas we have? And then what suggestions would we have for the Cubs to announce at Cubs Convention for possible slogans for 2023? Talk about that and more. So let's get right into the Devers thing, right? I saw our friend Greg Zumak, friend of the show, threw out his most recent Devers deal suggestion. And he's right. No matter what deal you threw out on this, there will be a fraction of fans that will be angry about the deal, and there will be a fraction of the fans that will be like, oh, yeah, I am on board. Let's do the deal. So you're never going to make everybody happy. His suggested hypothetical deal to get Rafael Devers from the Red Sox as he enters the final year of his control.
Yep.
And it doesn't sound like it's going well. I know the Red Sox are trying to keep him, but he suggests Christopher Morel, Keegan Thompson, Owen Casey, who I've seen described as the best power bat in the Cubs organization, despite what Matt Mervis has done, that Casey has the natural power that could eventually play out the best in the big leagues, and then maybe throwing in Miles Mastrobuoni. Okay? I personally think that's probably a little bit light.
That's too late, but he also did update it. Yeah, he updated it.
Okay, and what was the update?
Said he forgot to include Chris Sale coming back in the deal, so taking on the money that he's owed from the Red Sox. And
so with those guys, you get Devers and Sale, but you have to pay a lot of money to Chris Sale for 2 years.
For a guy that hasn't been healthy in like 2 or 3 years now.
Honestly, since 2019.
He's paid a lot of money to Jason Hayward to not play this year, too.
So I think what he's saying is it's kind of like one of those where you talked about the Cubs trading for Eric Hosmer, but they included a prospect and you'd have to give a bless in return kind of thing. Back in it's basically you're taking on a bad contract to devalue that side, so you don't have to give up as much as you would just straight up trading for Devers.
Here's why I don't think those two would go hand in hand. I know that we've seen that suggested before. I feel like if the Red Sox were trying to get the Sale money off their books, it would be so that they could give it to Devers.
Yeah.
Right? Like, to me, that makes sense. If you're just taking money off the table for Sale, it's not like they'd be taking that money and likely spending it on a big free agent because they're all gone at this point.
Right.
So I think one would be to do the other. But I like what he's saying. I'd be willing to do that
if
deal.
that's what the Cubs are giving up, yes, I would do that deal if I'm Jed Hoyer.
I would do it immediately.
I don't think that's close to the deal they'd have to to the package.
And they could get a better deal from other teams.
Yeah, the Red Sox would need more in a deal like that.
And none of us would do the deal unless Devers was at the same time simultaneously signing a long-term extension with the Cubs. That's the whole point of the deal.
I also think, though, with all that said, every day that Rafael Devers remains a Red Sox and is not extended is another day of leverage lost by the Red Sox with other teams. So, if they go into the season and they still don't have the extension, like this screams 2021 Cubs to me when it comes to the guys that they moved. Like, and we'll see if he's willing to talk extension in season. Like, I don't know. Like, it's very interesting. And given the history of the Red Sox, they traded Mookie Betts. They let Bogarts walk. And they haven't done anything to make their team better. They signed Corey Kluber today. And
who signed him?
The Red Sox did. They signed Corey Kluber today. And, okay, they signed the guy from Japan, which many think is a little bit of an overpay. But whatever. I don't know. We'll see. Like, what the Red Sox have done, they have to have had arguably the worst offseason so far for any team in baseball. Maybe the Dodgers just because they haven't done anything and they've lost guys, but
Losing
they still
their
have
shortstop,
but they still have one of the top systems in all of baseball. So maybe they're going that route where they're like, okay, we're gonna take an off season off here and see what we got on the farm. And whenever you're already paying Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman and some of these other guys, you can get away with that with your fan base. But the Red Sox, they're a team that I think their farm is fine, but it's not one of the top ones in the league. And they've lost players.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so, like, going into this year, right now at least, for me, like, it screams that they're going to end up moving Devers. To me, that's what it's screaming. Because, like, if they're not willing to bring Bogarts back, not willing to bring back Mookie Betts, then like, why would they bring back Devers? Especially considering the situation they're in. They're not trying to make their team better. They let Evaldi walk, then sign Kluber, who's older. And, like, again, I would have liked Kluber on the Cubs given the situation, you know, as, like, a short-term, like, you know, whatever situation. But, like, the Red Sox are also in a much tougher division.
It looks like they're going into reload mode.
Yeah, like a reload, or maybe not necessarily like a full-on rebuild, but, like, I feel like they're going to be taking this year off, basically, unless they make a massive trade to bring in a major name or something like that. But, like,
I mean, I do think they're still going to work on an extension with Devers. Like, after
maybe they will.
As Evil Wax says, they got fleeced for bets, and now they lost Xander Bogaerts. Like, so that's, you know, two really, really good players that they've had in the last 2 years that have now on other teams for that they don't really have anything back from. I do think they won't give up Devers for a deal that they aren't completely confident they win.
For sure.
That's and that's just baseball now. It's like as much as the Scott F. Ross, Hayden Wesneski trade surprises, because even as Jed Hoyer said, it was just a baseball player for a baseball. It was a straight up baseball trade, old school, just guy for a guy. Like, it wasn't like, oh, we need this guy because he's gonna help us in the future versus this guy who's good now. Like, it was just Yankees needed a reliever, Cubs, you know, had a need for starting pitching and younger guys. Baseball trade. What I'm saying is, like, that's not the standard anymore. It doesn't feel like. So I don't think the Red Sox would make a trade that they're like, you know what, that's an even trade. That's a pretty fair trade. They want to win the trade. The one that Greg put out there, definitely, in my opinion, doesn't get it done. And I don't know how much more it would have to take. I don't like putting out specifying what I think each side has to give up, because it just feels like something that you get completely burned by if you just put that thing out. But it's going to be more than that. It's going to be more than it was Morel, Keegan, and Owen Casey.
Yeah.
That's a starting point. Like that. Yeah. Maybe it's not a complete starting point, but it's definitely not all the way there. You have to add another piece, another high-end piece, maybe another couple mid to high pieces. Like, it's.
Well, think about the Soto deal. It's not as big as the Soto deal, but it would be similar to the Soto deal.
The Soto deal also, he had another couple years of control, or another year or so of control. That helped. You know, give the Nationals like leverage in asking a high price. Devers is a different story, since he will be a free agent next year, you know, provided he doesn't get an extension done. But I don't know. It's gonna be up there because he is a good player, young player. He fits a lot of the things the Cubs need, and
our lefty third baseman.
I would assume the Red Sox know
for
that
a long time. Your infield is set minus first base for a long time.
Yeah. The Red Sox have to know that.
First base, there's upside at least for the Cubs.
So,
If they were,
there's possibilities, but you would second, short, and third would be locked up for a long time. Now, Cody always has said that, like, he thinks the an Ohtani deal, they're losing leverage by the longer they hold on to him, right? And you're suggesting the same for this. The only thing I would say about that is they still would have great potential for moving Devers at the trade deadline to a contender that also wants to re-sign him, because you add him and all of a sudden it's like the Padres trying to add Soto. All of a sudden you make your team really serious for the postseason.
I guess it would just come down to, is a team desperate enough?
Yeah.
You know, we saw at the Soto trade, then the Padres literally gave up their entire farm system to get Soto. To me, that, like you said, more years of control. Also, 23. Devers a few years older, but still mid-20s. Like, I guess in a way it's not too different, but again, it would be a rental. You know what I mean? And I think if a team, say it's like, I don't know, say it's the Yankees. Not that the Red Sox and Yankees are going to make a big trade like that.
Never again. But not after Babe Ruth.
But say it's a team like that.
Right.
And like the Yankees are leading the AL East and whatever, and they need one big bat, and they just sell the farm for Devers, and maybe the Yankees would give him the money, but like I just don't think there's a guarantee, and we've seen the Yankees specifically the last couple trade deadlines where they haven't really done that. You know what I mean? Like they missed out on Soto too. They missed out on other guys. They spent on Aaron Judge, but they've missed out on guys. So like across the league, outside of the Padres making that trade for Soto, we haven't seen a team willing to sell the entire farm for a guy. And I think Soto's just a special type of scenario.
Well, and it's because at that point, as like I said earlier, it's like teams want to win the trade, and to really make deals like that, you have to be willing to risk losing that trade to get a player like that at a time when you're going all in, you're trying to win the World Series. Might you lose out on some really good prospects, guys that multiple guys that are going to be all-stars for a long time. You may miss out on that, but the ultimate goal is to win the goddamn World Series. Like that's why you play this game. If you're going and getting a guy like Rafael Devers, you hope that you can extend him, but if you're giving up some good prospects, that's a risk, and you have to be willing to make
major league talent. If they were doing it now,
you have to be willing to make that gamble.
Greg suggests a deal. I feel like Steele would probably be in the deal. Wisniewski might be in the deal. I think you'd have to give multiple guys that have shown something at least a little bit at the major league level, and you might have to throw in PCA. Like they'd probably try to get your top prospect or number 2 prospect or number 3 prospect. So I don't know.
Well, and that's
the debate is the timing right to make that move, right? I don't know. You always say you can add a player. Ryan always believes if you can add a great player, you add a great player because prospects are prospects, right?
Prospects.
And I do understand that.
Well, it's just where I'm at is again what I just said. Like you have to be willing to lose a trade in a scenario like that, because if you're not willing to, you don't really care about winning.
I will say, if the Cubs did include PCA, then I think you don't have to send as many pieces, in my opinion.
You're also losing your number 1 pro. I mean, it's again, I don't know what the Red Sox are interested in. I don't know what
I think
they'd want to trade.
It's Thompson, Morel, and PCA, maybe another throw-in, fine. But if it's Morel, Thompson, Casey, and no PCA, then you probably would have to send another 1 or 2 other minor leaguers. You're sending
bag of 420 doesn't like us, Cody.
That's my guy.
Herrera with the hot takes, much better than Del Softo and Puke Suckmeyer.
Oh my god!
Jeez. All right, Vaga. Jeez,
Vaga.
Look at him. He's got the weed and he's got the weed in the sun.
That's a good one.
Puke Suckmeyer's one
No,
I've never heard
it's
before.
actually not. In high school, I had a kid that always called me Puke Stuck on my tire.
Oh,
I was like, okay, that's nice.
Anyway, I think that's like the difference
between.
I think that's the difference though between if you add PCA or not. You add PCA, I think you don't have to give up as many pieces. But if you're not adding PCA, I think you're sending at least 4 or 5 guys, and that would include Morel and Thompson. And then 3 prospects. Yeah. Maybe that's not PCA.
It's a weird situation because again, like I don't know if Jed is willing to. At this point where the Cubs are at, to, I mean, because like we talked about, where the Cubs are at, you're trading for these guys because you want to extend them, you want to re-sign them. They're going to be here when this next great Cubs team arrives. Like the Cubs aren't winning the World Series next year. Trading for Rafael Devers isn't going to change that. I mean, maybe he's going to probably will help them get to the playoffs if anything. But I don't see them as a World Series contender, considering where the other contenders have improved this offseason. I
agree.
So the Cubs aren't specifically at that level where like Jed is willing to take on the risk and risk potentially losing that trade because this guy's going to help them win the World Series next year, which is the ultimate goal. They're not at that stage. I still say you should try to get good players when you can, and if you have to give up some prospects, you do it because prospects are prospects. But it's looking at it realistically at where the Cubs are at. I don't know if the Cubs are in that situation. Like my mindset and my philosophy is different than what the Cubs front office looks at it right now, and I just don't know that I see them being willing to take on that risk of losing a bunch of really good prospects for Rafael Devers.
Super chat.
The Duke 811 Absolutely not. Please don't send PCA. Hi, guys.
1999, the Duke
1999.
stepping it up.
Hi, the Duke 811.
Appreciate that.
Now,
Vaga 420, we're not reading your comments anymore unless
yeah,
we
I'm
get a
done,
super
Vaga.
chat out of you.
You know, I've been nice. Hey,
How about them
I
apples?
also think Del
Chad,
Softo is a great troll. So whatever.
Softo's
I
good.
do. I would definitely though, if the Cubs can get Chris Sale off them, like I'd be really excited if they got.
Well, just for the sleeveless jerseys alone, a couple days a year.
We've talked about this pitching infrastructure and how they're able to, fix guys that are coming off down years and stuff. And the whole thing with Sale is just the fact that he's not been healthy. He had Tommy John. He came off Tommy John last year, and he got the comebacker that hit him, and then he got in that bike wreck, whatever. Change of scenery. Guy, I think if the Cubs just did like a trade with the Red Sox just to get Chris Sale off their books and they don't have to send much of anything at all, I'm so for it. Because I just think there's still upside there. And I trust the Cubs when it comes to the pitching infrastructure. You know what I mean? So
I mean, if they are taking offers, you have to at least be in on the conversation because he's a top third baseman and he's 26.
right.
Right?
I think
you have to at least
Yeah.
have a conversation with the Red Sox about
Right.
it. I'm not saying they get the deal done,
I'm not either.
and I'm not saying they need to make a lowball offer, but they need to at least make a phone call.
Yeah. I'm sure other teams are
they
too.
I'm sure every team is.
Yeah.
Devers is available.
I
Every
just-
team's got to at least be like, okay, what would
I
it
just
take?
I just don't even know if Red Sox fans even know what this team is trying to do right now. You know what I mean? Like they've let guys walk. They let Martinez go. They let Bogarts go. They let Evaldi go, and they signed Kluber. They signed the guy from Japan. And you look at their roster right now, and you look at that tough AL East, and you're like, this team is in sell mode. It feels like. So, but if they did find a way to pay Devers and keep him long term, then at least you have a building block there moving forward because he is young. What, he's gonna be 26 this year, so like
Something
it's
like
not
that.
it's not like he's 32 having the best year of his career and is got the back years of his prime left.
Like he's
you know what I
he's
mean?
ready to trend.
He's
down.
ready to
Like, historically.
yeah.
That's
he
when it
should
would
be
but-
continuing to trend
Yeah.
up. So yeah, the Red Sox should be doing whatever it takes, honestly, to keep him because he's far and away their best player now, and their fan base is mad.
Whoa.
Their fan base is far and like we understand how like Cubs fans are after everything that happened with those trades, like with everyone being angry,
Right.
losing Betts, losing Bogarts. If they don't keep Devers, then it's just the same thing in my opinion, except
Like
with the
losing
Red
all the
Sox.
Cubs players.
Yeah, the Red Sox, I lean to believe that they'll find a way to pay him because they're just not a team that ever really goes in those full-on rebuild type situations over the last decade or two. So you got to have some building block there for the future. So I lean to think that they'll find a way to extend him. But yeah, the Cubs should be calling and finding and talking. I know Jed has some relationship with some of those guys in that front office, right?
Yeah, I mean, I saw.
I actually don't
who was
know.
just
Like
saying-
it was a while ago.
I know it's been 10 years, but he has to know someone there.
Joe is saying Cubs really need Davis and Canario to get healthy fast, back on track. And I also saw Davis as a guy mentioned by someone in the chat as start with Davis and some other names instead of PCA. I don't think – I would guess that Davis is not a guy that would almost be tradable at the moment just because teams would be way too afraid to make him a major piece of a deal knowing that he just came off back surgery and they haven't really seen him play and he stopped playing in the fall league. So while the Cubs certainly value Brendan Davis and a large portion of the fan base certainly values Brendan Davis, I think other teams would be very leery of making Brendan Davis a key piece of a deal in return right now. So that's why I think any other names would pop up much more often than Brendan Davis right now in any deal.
Jason Robinson, super chat, but he didn't say anything. But I want to acknowledge the 199 super
Maybe
chat.
he
We
just
appreciate
wanted
it.
to say Jason Robinson.
Yeah, maybe.
Which I'll say again, Jason Robinson.
Jason Robinson.
Jason
That's
Robinson,
worth
thank
$2.
Is there a prospect out there that we don't
J.
know
Rob.
named
There we go.
Jason Robinson? Oh.
Maybe this is it. How often do prospects turn into stars until they do it in the shows? They're just names. That's what I try to say. As much as we put stock in these guys, like P.K. Armstrong looks like at the least a perennial Gold Glove contender in center field, right? Like Brendan Davis, until these injury issues, looked like the next big thing for the Cubs because he kind of was. I mean, you go back a few years ago, Braylon Marquez and Miguel Amaya were sure things in the system. Braylon Marquez was like the best pitching prospect the Cubs had in years. And you see injuries happen, slow development happens. Guys come up here and just don't, just don't succeed at the level you thought they could because whatever they regress or they just don't develop, and it happens. So in my mind, like as much as you want to hold on to these prospects and believe some of them will develop into all-stars, that happens to obviously a lot fewer prospects than there actually are in the minor league system. So if you have an opportunity to trade them or get something of value for them when their value is at its highest, definitely look into that because you're getting guys who are proven at the major league level for guys that aren't, is the way I kind of look at it.
420 won me over.
Let's see.
Got to read it. It's a super chat.
Vaga 420, our friend. He says Triantos Davis Wicks starts the talks. Get him. Triantos has high upside, no doubt. I think he can emerge as a top 100 guy this year because he's going to be in South Bend. Davis, yeah, I mean, I don't know what the value of Brennan Davis is right now.
If that actually started the talks, I would have two phones out trying to dial him at one time.
And Jordan Wicks,
not that those aren't going to be good
first
players.
round pick. He's supposed to debut next season.
Yeah, potentially could be up at some point.
I wouldn't say a power lefty, but a left-handed pitcher with high upside, has potential to be a really good pitcher for the Cubs as a starter. I mean, you can argue Wicks as being their best pitching prospect. So, I think that you do that. If it starts with that, I still think you got to throw in at least one major leaguer for the Red Sox to even consider it. But no, I mean, those are all guys that we all think have high upsides.
Yeah, you'd rather not give him Dylan Cease.
Right.
But, things work that way with prospects, too. The guy turns into Dylan Cease, and you regret it for a few years.
And that's what I'm saying.
But if you win a World Series because of it, Gleyber Torres or whoever it might be, then it's worth it.
And that's what I'm saying when you have to be willing to risk losing that trade. Like you look at it now, Dylan Cease is a Cy Young candidate, probably for the next few years at least. Eloy Jimenez, if he can stay healthy, hits bombs and is a really good hitter. And Jose Quintana didn't work out on the Cubs, right? But you had to be really willing to lose that trade to potentially get yourself another World Series. Didn't work out, and it set him back in a couple different places for a few years. But at least at that point the Cubs were going for it, and I guess you can commend them for that. Mm-hmm. They just made the bad trade. Galvin 316 says this is the same fan base that complains about Gleyber for Roldis. I don't know anyone that complains about that.
You're crazy if you complain about that deal.
I don't know anyone that wouldn't make that trade 100 times out of 100.
Yes. It helps you win. Now, Brady points out there's always the Fernando Tatis for James Shields deal.
Of course.
That's one you really don't want to make.
Yes.
Yeah.
No matter how bad it's gone
when
recently.
You mentioned Dylan Cease, though, yeah, that trade sucks. But you know what's different now about the Cubs farm system is that they have an overload of arms. They could move Jordan Wicks, and I'd still feel okay because you know what? They got Cade Horton coming in a couple years. They got DJ Hers down there. They got all kinds of arms, and I don't know if any of them are going to turn into your number one starter ace type guy. But with the way that they're building it down there and all the money they invested into trying to build that, like I can say goodbye to Jordan Wicks if that means we're getting Rafael Devers.
Right, and it's all about it is all about what that player you get back turns out to be.
For sure.
If Quintana was actually Justin Verlander at that time, the Cubs probably aren't sitting here going, "Wow, we lost Dylan Cease and Eloy Jimenez." Like
it's probably
not
had
Verlander, and your outcome might have been different than it was with Quintana. So, anyways, it's fun to. Somebody in the chat was talking about how fans and media are terrible at suggesting trades, which is all of us, right? I mean, that's everybody except for the front office.
Yes, that's
who, by the way, also sometimes awful at what they offer and don't offer.
Yeah.
So we're all bad at it. Why? Because prospects in baseball are difficult to predict.
Volatile.
Yeah,
that's a good word.
I mean, it's just
volatile.
Yeah,
it's just not a proven thing. Although I will say, again, I believe it's easier to predict that now than it was 15 years ago, just because there's so much more information. There's so many more analytics. But how many people had Morel coming up and doing a nice job last year?
That's true.
Not too many.
Yeah.
And the other difference is all of us sitting out here in the seats looking onto the field, we have more information than we've ever had before. So that's why it's a more hot button issue than it was before.
And we still can't predict it.
No, I'm just saying.
So it's
but like we at least know the names of James Triantos, whereas 15 years ago you wouldn't even have known the name.
Kind of unrelated to the trade, because what I'm about to say has nothing to do with trading for Devers. But, last couple of days I've talked about my frustration with the fact that the Cubs have missed out on a lot of these second-tier guys, showing that they have confidence and, Morel continually to, continue what he did last season, become a better player in 2023. And, I guess, I still think probably Mancini is going to be the first baseman, but, they have high hopes for Mervis, and we don't know, but they probably still have high hopes for Davis and Canario, because if they didn't, then I think they would have been a little bit more aggressive. And you can look at it one way. You can look at it as, a big market team playing small market, or you can look at it as, like I'm saying, like the Cubs are feeling very good about what they have growing on the farm. So it's either going to look bad or it's going to look great, depending on if the Cubs win or not. So either way, I'm gonna find a way to support this team in 2023. But it's just an interesting way to look at it whenever you talk about how the teams made moves this offseason. And some guys might be high on, Davis or whoever, and some guys
might just be high.
Yeah, that's true. Ravi's always high.
Ravi's on the chat.
So yeah,
Vega 420 with the leaf in his marijuana leaf in his picture.
So I
sure
think,
he is.
in relating all of what I just said to the trade for Devers, is a lot of people are high on PCA, and you don't want to move PCA, and all these other names that we've mentioned, right? But I think when you can get a guy of the caliber of Rafael Devers, I think you have to be willing to move anything, especially at his age. But the amount of pieces you're going to have to move, I think you can argue, because, again, 1 year left, going into a walk year.
Yeah.
So.
It's definitely a as far as trading goes, it's not going to be a Juan Soto level package solely because of the years and the control remaining. But I don't know. I'm like reading the chat, and I'm like 8 years, $320 million. Like,
yeah, that's the topic coming up.
No.
Evil Wax and some of the guys that could honestly that could be as big a sticking point as the prospects. Is what kind of deal does he want that the Red Sox aren't willing to do? Right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Vaga. All right.
Vaga 420. He was waiting for you.
Did a
Del
massive
Salto.
dab while waiting on Del Salto to show up to the show.
He was
He was
waiting for you.
dabbing.
Yeah,
That's
there you
right.
go.
He's the dab king. Anyways,
Yes, Brady.
we're
with the
getting
understanding
to
of
our
extension.
slogans here in a second, but first, the ComEd Energy Efficiency Program is committed to helping families and businesses in the communities we serve manage energy usage and lower energy bills now and into the future. ComEd Energy offers a wide array of incentives on lighting and efficiency upgrades to commercial, industrial, and public sector customers of all sizes across our territory. Customers can inquire about how to upgrade their outdated lighting to energy and money-saving efficient LED lights. They can learn more about network lighting to operate your lights through mobile devices and track your facility's energy usage and more. Incentives have recently increased for indoor, outdoor lighting, and networked lighting controls, making these projects even more cost-effective than ever before. Visit ComEd.com/poweringbiz now to start saving money and energy. And to start a project, contact us at 1-855-433-2700. For more information, you can also email businessee@comed.com or publicsectoree@comed.com.
And when you get those lights on from ComEd, you need to have your Shady Rays. Oh, look, Luke's got his Shady Rays on.
I brought
Cody,
mine in and I brought them in.
you're odd man out.
Mine are over by my backpack.
You should have had Sean get
You
them for you like I did.
Should've.
See how the light's not going to get behind
Oh,
these
man.
when I go fishing?
I can look right into our studio lights and it doesn't even hurt.
I feel
No?
naked right now.
Because of my Shady Rays. Shady Rays never understood why sunglasses were so expensive, so they set out to change it. You don't have to break the bank for quality sunglasses this fall because our friends at Shady Rays have you covered. Shady Rays are premium, polarized shades featuring world-class optical clarity, substantial durability, and styles catered to everyone and every lifestyle. The best part about Shady Rays, they have the most insane protection program in all of eyewear, lost and broken replacements. If you lose or break your shades on day one, they told us they will send you a brand new pair, no questions asked. Drop in a lake, off a cliff, anything, they'll replace them. Even with that strong of a protection program, they still manage to make quality that I can tell you holding in my hand or wearing on my head, or Luke can probably tell you himself too, seems just as good as any expensive pair that I have ever worn. Shady Rays customers seem to agree with over 200,000 5-star reviews. Shady Rays also provides 10 meals to fight hunger in America with every order placed and have donated over 20 million meals to date. They stand behind their product and told our team that if anyone has a problem, they throw profit out the window and do what it takes to get it right. You get free returns and exchanges. You either love the shades or Shady Rays will pay to ship them back. That's it. And now, exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is running their deepest deal of the season. Use code CHGO for 50% off 2 or more pairs at shadyrays.com. That's buy one, get one free, BOGO. You can get 2 pairs for as low as $54. Redeem that code CHGO for 50% off only at shadyrays.com, where you can find all their newest and best shades.
I see McBaconator is now trying to pile on the old guy. Just because I'm wearing Maverick shades. He did call me Maverick. But he's saying, why is he wearing a weird shirt? Dude, it's just a flannel.
Yeah, I like flannels.
You know what? Here's the deal. If you don't like it, it doesn't matter. Fashion's about wearing what you want to wear. If you're worried about what other people are wearing or what other people think about you're wearing, you're a loser. That's what that is. Like, you got to set your own trends. You got to set your own trends, what you feel good in, what feels comfortable to you. Some people don't even care what it looks like. They just want it to feel good. That's the trend that's going on, right?
That was beautiful, Luke.
It's more about what it feels like.
Yeah, that was
For me,
beautiful.
that I got plenty of suits sitting at home. Why am I not wearing them? They're not as comfortable as this.
Exactly. You only have one life.
Be who you want to be.
That's right.
Cub how you want to cub. Be who you want to be.
I
mean, I'll wear expensive suits if you want me to wear expensive suits, but that seems kind of pointless, doesn't it?
I will say the first time I saw you and you weren't wearing a suit, I was like, wow, this is weird. But that's
like,
because
"What
I
is
only
that?"
saw
Right.
you on TV with suits on. So
Yeah, well, no suit,
Just
a little bit of facial hair, not clean shaven. It's like, I don't remember wearing a hat.
He's saying it looks good on me, but Maverick is wearing leather.
Oh, true.
That's true. That's true. Well,
that's fair.
he's still also Tom Cruise, you know.
He can afford it.
That's right. I can afford the leather. I can't afford the leather anymore.
Did you guys see Michael Cerami's tweet today related to Zip's projections on homers?
Yeah.
For
So
guys?
what do you?
I did not.
It was just about guys that are going to hit home runs. It had Wisdom as the most likely to lead the team in home runs.
There's that.
And what was the
26.
number? 26?
Yep.
And then a follow-up question is, would that be enough for the Cubs to win if their leading home run guy hit 26?
It was more. His
Right?
question was more of over under. Like, do you think that
For
it
each
goes
guy?
Up? Yeah, and he had Wisdom for 26.
I'll go under on Wisdom.
He had
I don't think he'll play enough to hit 26.
He had Hap and Seiya and someone else at 21.
Hap, Seiya, and Mervis at 21.
Yeah, Mervis. Bellinger at 18. And then Morel at 19. And he asked over under. And out of all those, I would say the over on Seiya for sure. I think Seiya goes over 21.
I think I'd go
next
over
season,
on
if he stays
Swanson,
healthy.
too.
What was his
23.
number?
Oh, yeah, and he had 23 for Swanson, yeah.
So 23
Seiya was 21. Swanson was 23. I'd probably go over on both those two.
I agree. I'll try and go over on both. Well, we'll have our preseason predictions after we see what
I'd
happens.
say under on Wisdom,
Cactus
though, too.
League.
I don't know if he's definitely going to fall down in at bats. But unless he's the starting third baseman opening day, of course.
And what was the number on Bellinger?
18.
If he hits 18 home runs, I think you're satisfied with that signing, by the
You're
way.
100% satisfied.
Right? Like, he's lived up
So
to it and
Zips-
probably movable at the deadline
Zips
if you're not in
believes
it.
that Cody Bellinger is going to get back to some sort of
Reunited with
good-
his hitting coach.
yeah, like he's going to get back to some sort of good baseball player form. So, hey, if a computer is going to tell me that, then I'll believe it.
I guess Wisdom's a tough one. If he does play enough.
Yeah, it's a lot about playing time, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
Will he hit that many if he's playing every day? Yes. But I think it's very possible if they Well, we still don't know who's going to necessarily play third base. But if they find a third baseman and he's just splitting time at first,
He's not going to have the playing time.
then he wouldn't have.
Well,
then he
and
wouldn't have the
it's-
playing time to do it.
And it's also if they sign a first baseman, he's probably stuck at third base in a rotation somehow. It's if they sign a
'Cause you
third
gotta
baseman,
find-
sign a first
You
baseman.
got to find Morel to play.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of
I don't think he's going to play enough to hit that many.
Yeah. Right now at
Probably.
third base, I feel like it's just going to be either Wisdom or Morel playing there every day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, that's what we're, like. It's if say they don't sign Mancini, don't sign another third baseman, it's going to be those two. But when Morel plays third, Wisdom can probably move over to first base, you know,
Yeah.
or DH, whatever. However that shakes
And
out.
I honestly don't mind Morel at third, but he's got some throwing problems from over
He's
there.
going to have to.
So
work on some of
hopefully
the
he's
things.
worked on that this offseason to get better. And of course they want to use him all around the field anyway, too. So
Consistency
he's
would help
gonna-
him if he was at just like third and maybe one other position.
yeah. But I think as far as fielding the ball, he's great. We saw him play a very good second and
athletic
short.
enough,
Yeah,
for
he's
sure.
athletic. But can he make the throws from third to first at a decent level? That remains to be seen. So, yeah, I mean, it was interesting. The Zips projections we kind of talked about them before last week, right? But looking at those types of numbers and stuff, it's interesting how they come up with that stuff.
You said Madrigal is projected 1 home run.
Yeah, Madrigal's
I like
projected
those
1.
odds.
Well, that's what we predicted last year too.
I like those
We just
odds.
wanted like 3 for our over/under for Madrigal combined with Nico,
Yeah.
right? And all we got was Nico.
I think because
Yeah.
didn't Joey set
11
it at like,
was the number I thought.
I think he set it
Yeah.
at like 10.5, 11, something
They-
like that.
They set
and then
Nico at 7. I
going
think
into
he
this
goes
year.
over.
I think so too. I would
7
take
home
the
runs
over.
for this year?
Yeah,
I'd take
for
the over on that.
2023. Yeah,
I would pound the over.
pounding the over. Yeah, because the lineup will be better, which means better opportunities for him, more fastballs probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Time
Yeah.
for slogans.
Yeah, let's do the
Slogan
slogans. You
time.
ready?
Slogans.
So let's start with our 2022 slogans first. Again, it's different here, which worked out multiple ways for the Cubs last season, right? So these are Cody's 2022 Cubs slogans.
Okay.
If you had to rename the slogan,
Yeah.
it's different here. These are ones you're suggesting.
Yes.
In hindsight, they could go back and call last season.
Yes. Every season for me is just vibes.
There you go.
That vibes.
Yeah, vibes.
Yeah.
King of
And
vibes.
then the slogan for, if anything, the number one slogan for me for this year was "It's just nice to win one," and Rossi's boys don't quit. The amount of times that Luke said that.
We said all 3 of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We said all 3 of those on
it's
podcasts
just,
a lot.
It's just nice to win one.
Yeah.
Rossi's boys
Okay.
don't quit.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So
I'll tell you what.
That is one thing you could say about this group is I guess they 39-31 in the second half, right? Like they kind of battled to the
they always
end.
played hard, and that's why
Yeah.
I always didn't understand all the hate for David Ross during a lot of part of the season because he was given the roster he was given, and how can you blame the manager for a lot of that? To me, the manager's all about can you manage your bullpen and can you get guys to play for you?
Yeah, and even last season wasn't the year to determine if he could do that or not. Like there was a lot of times where he was throwing guys like Eric Ullman, who I think he got DFA'd recently, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
There was times where he'd throw him out for multiple innings just to see if he could do it, right?
Yeah.
There was a lot of evaluation going on
Yeah,
as much
for
as there
sure.
was trying to figure out
Trying to win a game.
Win the game. And then when you trade away basically your entire bullpen and try to restart it, well, the matchups aren't going to be as ideal as they would have been.
Yeah,
But it still worked out sometimes okay.
for sure.
That's the season it was. So, oh, here are mine. Okay.
These are Ryan's 2022 Cubs slogans.
Yeah.
Replacing It's Different Here.
Yeah. So the first one was at least there's beer, and in Slack I specified that's the first half.
That's right.
When
right.
it was really bad,
Right.
there's a 10-game losing streak. There was a 9 that almost was a 10-game losing streak. It was bad in the first half. So at least there's beer. You go, and that's the start of summer. You go to the you have good vibes at Wrigley Field, but you also have a few beers to get you through the pain. Number 2 was marching to 63. That was the second half.
Yes.
As they got there.
This is plagiarism. The third one is plagiarism.
Oh, get out of here.
The
Marching. Well, let me. Number 2 with marching to 63. That was our whole thing. What was it? September 20th. We determined
March to 63. Yeah,
Was the
We got
day,
the champagne out and celebrated here.
was the
March
day
to 63.
But
we
that was the
avoided
second-
100 losses, baby.
That's what the second half. That's what mattered. The second half was just them avoiding the 100 losses.
Yeah.
And they were better. They won 74 games. So like,
Yeah.
as much as we were like, they just got to get to 63. There was a point where like, can they get to like 80? Like,
Yeah.
I remember that. So there you go.
That was a good dream.
That was fun. And yeah, number 3, Cub how you want to Cub. It's Luke can claim plagiarism, but I think
I mean, as a man, as a journalist,
he didn't put it. He didn't
prides
put
himself
it.
in the press box. Plagiarism.
He didn't
is-
put it in the
I
Slack.
is
almost
not-
had a heart attack when you said that.
My-
I was like, what?
My goodness.
He didn't put it in the Slack, so I took it.
My goodness.
Cub how you want to Cub. You can be mad about the season. You can be happy that guys developed. Cub how you want to Cub.
Galvin 316 says 2023 can be, if you get marquee, you'll see. We're not to 2023 yet. We're still talking about the 2022. I knew Collada was going to have one here. 2022, Ricketts didn't spend. Cubs didn't contend.
Oh my god.
2023, Ricketts won't
That's
spend,
pretty
Cubs
good.
Won't contend.
Mine for 2022, Simmons to VR to Schwindel.
Yep.
It doesn't quite have the ring of Tinker to Evers to Chance, but Simmons to VR to Schwindel was early in the season a lot of what we were going with. We had Cup Snake with us because I saw a lot of Cup Snake videos on
yeah.
Twitter, right?
It was great.
Yeah.
There were the Cup Snake Patrol out there.
Yeah.
What year
guys
was it?
chopping.
What year was it they were like trying to outlaw Cub snakes? Was that last year?
No, it was like in 2018, 2019. Yeah.
I mean, it really is gross.
Just, you know,
they outlawed
people's
it, and then
backwash dripping
I
on
think
other
because
people.
of how bad the team was, they were like, "Fuck it, y'all can do it
yeah.
again."
Say at least you're here.
But
And
yeah,
then-
it is disgusting, but it's tradition. It's just that's why it's different here, as they say.
That's right. So I tried to go positive with my third one. Pitching powers us, right? Because we saw Keegan, we saw Steele, we saw Wisniewski, we saw guys, we saw Hughes. So you started to see at the end of the season as, well, heck, even the rotation was one of the best in baseball the second half of the season. You could start to see the flip in the organization as the attention goes to building through arms. And maybe it's not the best arms yet coming up, but you could start to see that it was starting to develop. And Matthew has a point here. My honorable mention was it should have been, let's just go get ice cream.
Let's just go get ice cream. Yep.
So, yes, or can we ice cream social now? Would have been another one. That would have been positive.
Perhaps that could be 2023 if things don't go how we hope.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely potential for that, for more ice cream socials in 2023. I
God,
think we can say that.
at least we'll have shorter games.
Yeah, I mean, that that was one of my slogans. I just wasn't going to.
Yeah.
I didn't go there, but shorter games would.
All right.
All right, so now Cody's got his 2023 slogans. This is something we could suggest to the Cubs at Cubs Convention, maybe ahead of time in case they want to build a big video. You know, they always do the big video at Cubs Convention on Friday, which is just, a couple weeks away now.
Yeah. So my first one is vibes, because vibes.
Right.
Cubs 120 Friday. Summer vibes. All right.
You go.
Okay. The next one, shorter games means less pain. So if they do suck, at least they're shorter games.
Yeah.
So I don't have to sit here for 4 hours and try and keep Luke from falling asleep.
Right. Or gaining 30 pounds in ice cream.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
And then finally, it's a good day to go 1-0. A lot of people have asked me this, and the OGs know that that's my go-to when the Cubs are good, or when I think that they can win a game. Is it's a good day to go 1-0.
And then when they're not, it's I'm ready to be hurt again.
Yes.
Okay.
Whenever I have no hope and that I'm dead inside, I'm ready to be hurt again. But whenever I'm optimistic and positive, it's a good day to go 1-0. So.
Julian making the live chat instead of watching at 2 a.m.
Woo.
Wow.
There you
Thanks
go.
for all you guys do. We appreciate
Thanks
it.
for tuning in at 2 a.m.
supporting
too.
us.
2 a.m. Love it. Yeah, Matthew says your members pounding ice cream.
Oh, yeah.
Mostly with you guys, but I was here for a couple times the whole second half of the
There's
season.
there's still some in the freezer.
Yeah,
it's covered in a giant block of ice now because
Yeah.
it's an
Yeah,
older
it is still in
refrigerator
the
freezer over there.
freezer.
Well, the Cubs started winning in the second half, so
Yeah.
it was less opportunities for ice cream.
It became a shtick where when the Cubs would blow a lead, I'd go do a video of me going to the freezer to get the ice cream.
Currently, the chocolate chip cookie dough that I bought is in there. It's in this block of ice, and someday, like a dinosaur, it will be chipped away, and somebody will be like, "What is this?" It's an ice cream carton from 2022.
All right. Is it
I like
my
Joel's
turn?
comment. He says Culver's really salvaged the middle of the season.
I feel like we could have a sponsorship there.
Yeah.
No free ads.
They are Wisconsin.
Let's
but
Culver's.
No free ads.
Let's Culver's.
Let's Culver's.
All right,
Culver's.
this is Ryan's 2023
All right.
Cubs slogans.
All right, my first one was Let's Play 2
Oh, that's
hours.
Brilliant.
There you go.
Brilliant.
There you go.
Brilliant. I'm already adopting that one.
Pitch clock coming into play here. If we can get closer to 2 hours than 3 on average, I'll be a happy camper. I'm sure everyone else in the press box will. Number 2, nobody out. I said was it 2021? Was everybody in the slogan? Something like that.
It was like
right?
2017.
was that?
Everybody, and I can't match the years to that stuff.
I can't.
I know the
2017
slogans,
or
but I have
2018
no
was that.
time
Or
concept.
no,
of any of it.
2017 was That's Cub. Everyone hated that.
Okay.
2018 was everybody.
Okay,
in.
whenever was everybody in?
That was a real good one.
I don't know that everyone's gonna be in this year, but the Cubs gotta hope that nobody's out at least. So nobody out. That's a slogan. And number 3, hugs, not injury bugs. You guys ever seen like those hugs, not drugs or something like that? You could do hugs, not injury bugs, pugs, not injury bugs, nugs, like chicken nuggets, nugs, not injury bugs, stuff like that. The Cubs are going to hope for a lot less injuries, especially to their pitching staff this season. So there's 2023 slogan. I still think Let's Play 2 hours.
Let's Play 2 hours is
my
so
favorite
far
one.
one of my all-time favorites.
That's my
I
number
don't
one.
remember what I had. Oh, well, I have a couple. So for 2023, I think their first one should be announcing at Cubs Convention, we are tank-free in 2023, right?
Yeah.
Because the tanks have to be over. I don't want to be dealing, like, massive parts of the roster at the deadline. I want to see the Cubs be good enough that they're at least standing pat at the deadline and thinking, all right, let's see how it plays out. Maybe we get to the postseason or they add a guy.
If I'm doing stock up, stock down in May, I'm gonna need revived.
That should have been one of yours. It should have been the stock up, stock down slogan.
Like I can't do stock up, stock down in May. I can't do it, guys.
So my second one is, instead of one day at a time, one Dansby at a time. Adding good players to the roster, whether that's the off season, whether that's how they approach each game, one Dansby at a time, because he's told us it's all about winning. It's about winning and not building stats. If you have to strike out 2 guys to go 6 innings, that's what you do as a pitcher. So one Dansby at a time. And then my third one is better together. Sort of like Cub together, but in this case, I'm just saying we're getting slowly better together, right? Like they're slowly building the roster. Things are hopefully going to get a little better next year, and we're all going to be back together. Like we're a divided fan base. We have a divided fan base because of the losing and the path that the team has taken, right?
Only Dan's. I like that.
Yeah,
Only
my obvious
Dan's.
shirts. Yeah, shout out to Joe.
You watch them try and obvious shirts. I don't think Joe do this, but if he tries to steal my Simmons to VR to Schwindel, because you can't tell me that wouldn't be a hot seller. Think of all the people who would want to wear that shirt.
I mean, I guess I kind of took his, like, they have a It's a Vibe shirt. Just the shirt says It's a Vibe. That's why mine's just vibes.
Well, you know how
Steve.
You know how Joe made the Steve obvious shirt. I'm gonna hit him up, see if he can make me the Let's Play 2 hours.
That's good.
Me.
I would buy that one. Let's Play 2 hours.
Just for me.
Are there any honorable mentions or anybody in the chat? Well, Matthew Gregory says beer, bleachers, and belly bombs.
There you go.
He also
I like
said
that.
beer chugs, not injury bugs. I do like that one.
There you go.
That's Cub. That was one, wasn't it? Only
Oh,
Dan's
well,
is not
there's
bad.
always next year. That's been the slogan for literally
Christian, I mean, you
a
can
century.
try not to suck works for every season.
Yeah.
Try, if you want to change it, try to be better. There you go.
There you go. Try to be
That
better.
goes in with your better together one.
How about it's closer to happening?
Again.
For Colada, it could just always just be Ricketts. Ricketts is cheap.
Yeah, that's
the slogan for Colada.
That's
That's his slogan for 22, 23, 24.
Oh yeah.
Anyways, that was fun. Cody, do you have a DraftKings pick of the week for us?
Yeah. Tonight I'm taking Villanova plus 12.5 against UConn on the road. It was 14.5 yesterday. It's moved down to 12.5. Villanova's playing well right now. UConn Haven't really been tested by a program like this one yet. So give me 12.5 points. I think they can lose by less than 13 at UConn tonight. So that's my pick of the week. Bulls, perhaps. You get a free.
That's a shirt.
You get
Bulls, perhaps question mark.
There you go. You get a free. You basically get a free NBA bet tonight on DraftKings. All you gotta do is opt in, and I don't know what the limit is. It'll tell you when you opt in. If you go look at all the terms and stuff, whatever. If you bet the Bulls tonight, if it's the first NBA bet you make, if you bet the Bulls money line, they're like plus 190 against the Bucks. I think at home, who they've already beat this year, the Bucks. If it loses, you get your money back. So, you don't know what you're gonna get out of this Bulls team, but that is one of the cool promos on DraftKings today.
Yeah.
So,
Or if you want a Mizzou pick of the week, Mizzou, Kentucky, SEC play kicks off today. Over 148.5. I like it because Mizzou scores a lot and doesn't play a lot of defense. So there you go.
You're not going to take them to cover the 3.5 at home?
No, I'm gonna stick with the over and just see how the rest of it plays.
Game Time, the hottest new ticketing site that makes it easier than ever to score the best deals on tickets to sports, concerts, and shows. If you've ever dreamed of sitting in a seat you never thought you could, 50-yard line, courtside, behind home plate, floor seats at a concert, it's possible, all with the Game Time app. The biggest last-minute price drops can be found on seats that you thought you could never buy, and you won't find a better deal this season on those red-hot Bulls tickets. Created by the fans for the fans, guaranteeing the lowest price. If you love CHGO, you're going to love Game Time. It's the best way to support us. Buying your tickets through the link in the description. Join over 15 million people who have downloaded the Game Time app and score the best seats to all your favorite events. Game Time. What do we got? How much time we got left?
5 minutes?
5 minutes tops? Yeah, 6?
Yes, Matthew. Ryan is a big Drew Lock guy. He
I'm a
won't
big
let
Drew
us
Lock guy.
forget that he went to Mizzou. He says it all the time in this office.
You know who would have made the Broncos a better team this year? Drew Lock. Just saying.
If
Perhaps.
Broncos fans, if our DNVR friends could go back and have Drew Lock as quarterback right now, they would do it.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, I think so.
Not
too.
Try to
because of
tell
Drew
him.
Lock, just because of Russell Wilson.
Try to tell him.
And they'd have all their picks back.
That's right.
And they wouldn't be investing all that money into
Yeah.
one guy.
They'd have a top 5 pick coming.
Yeah.
Try to tell you.
Leave it to Ricketts to still sell us tickets.
Oh, Cody Delmendo, Matthew says, should
I
be.
like that.
That's
I
a
like
shirt
that.
you could have.
I need that. Yeah. I'll wear it every time I win a bet. Shout out to Mike Dubs too. He likes my pick of the week. I need all that energy because Vag has been in the chat shitting on me the entire
Softo.
show. Yeah.
Rhonda, how you doing? Good to see Rhonda in the
Puke
chat.
suck.
Always there supporting. Look at that picture
Kills
Cody's
me.
got, by the way. We talk about suits and ties. Cody's buttoned up there. He's got
That was at a wedding in like 2018.
So that wasn't the
looks
salmon.
like you're giving a
the
TED
salmon
talk
jacket.
or something, maybe.
No, I was just caught in the wild at the wedding.
Yeah, that's
by
not
the photographer.
that's not the salmon.
No.
That's not the salmon special.
I was that picture.
Jays.
That picture that is my YouTube channel picture.
The salmon one?
No,
Oh,
but the one
this
right
one.
there that you see that everyone sees if they're on YouTube. I was in that wedding. I was forced to wear that.
Dapper Delmetrics
fair.
is what they call that.
Dapper Delmetrics. Okay.
This is literally ludicrous. Stop with all this talk of making deals for people. Man,
Don't tell us what to do.
Wes, man,
Don't tell us how to trade.
Don't tell us how to cub. We're sitting here 5 days a week just having a good time.
Yeah, we're having a good
Vibes.
time.
What about
We got
vibes?
vibes. Yeah. We got 142 people
Oh,
watching.
Matthew Gregory liked to point out he is wearing a suit in that photo. Very nice.
Yes.
Pain. Oh, yeah, it's facts.
I wish I could see both photos a little bit closer because a good tie is judged on the dimple.
You think so?
If you don't have your dimple underneath the knot, it's not a good knot. And
Yeah.
if you don't have the dimple centered directly even on both sides, it's not a good knot.
Yeah.
That's the key to a tie.
You said dimple, right?
Dimple.
Okay.
Dimple. Yeah.
Making sure. Do we want to mention
Now everyone thinks Ludacris is coming.
Luda? Wait.
Luda.
Oh, nice. Are we gonna mention this Sean Murphy?
Yeah,
deal
let's
real
do it.
quick?
We got 3 minutes. So the Braves have an extension for Sean Murphy All I thought of when I saw that was get Nico signed.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Get Nico signed. And Hap goes the same story, but Nico's the younger guy. That would be my first priority, but both would be a priority before the season starts.
Nico feels like the one that, like, you, especially if you could buy out his arbitration years, you get it done, right? You're telling him, like, we're invested in you, like, we're not going to fight you on this pretty much. Like, we're going to give you this money guaranteed through your arbitration years and however long they do after that. That feels like the priority. Hap, I'm still, like, I'm not 100% sold that they, like, I do believe they believe in what he did, but I'm also not 100% sold they may not be looking for a trade partner or any of that stuff. I do, if it was me, I would probably be interested in doing an extension with Hap. I don't know. I don't know for sure how the front office is looking at it. So
Yeah,
Is it too early to think about that for Justin Steele?
Well, he's what, 27, 28?
yeah.
How many years of control left?
Just saying, you just see how expensive pitchers get. Like,
Yeah.
how many years of Justin Steele you actually going to get?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He peaked kind of late.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know.
I know.
Like,
That's why I asked. Like,
Yeah.
it might be.
The only question I had before we get off here, obviously, so after the Sean Murphy deal, Jeff Passan kind of put it all into one tweet, said Austin Riley signed, this is the Braves, obviously. Braves have club control of Austin Riley through 2023, or 33, Michael Harris II through 2032, Matt Olson through 2030, Sean Murphy through 29, Spencer Strider through 29, Acuna through 28, Vaughn Grissom through 28, Ozzie Albies through 27, Kyle Wright through 26, and Max Fried through 2024.
It's what the Cubs tried to do.
It's like, it's great that they are able to, I don't know, like, what car salesman, like, a convention they went to learn these skills to sell these guys on signing these deals. But I'm also like, what happens if a lot of these, like, if half that lineup regresses or doesn't
What
develop
happens
anymore?
if they
Like,
Moncada?
they just kind of get stuck with that. So
or
Eloy.
Eloy, or even Luis. Like, the White Sox are a good example of the issue if things don't go well.
if you
with it.
extend
They all
all your
sound
guys
like
early.
it sounds like a good idea, and it sounded like a good trend, but it can also not work out.
yeah.
That said, the Braves are really good, and they've been really good. And the contracts, I think, of those ones that you mentioned, the one that they got Acuna and
Oh my
Albies
God.
on was like they were like the Braves, like the agents for those two guys. Those guys are morons. Like, why did they let those guys do those deals? But again, credit to the Braves. My whole point, or my whole thought,
Depends on how bad these players need money early on.
guess, yeah.
I mean, sometimes that's just a fact of life.
I will say this. The thing that makes me, I guess, see that tweet that Ryan just read. When I see that tweet, all it makes me think of is I am just ready to
be heard
move
again.
on. No, I'm ready to move on. You know, like everyone, like every day in the chat, there is at least one person that still says, "Oh, I miss Javi. Oh, I miss Rizzo. Oh, I miss Bryant. We should have kept this guy." Whatever. Every single day, it's like, every single day almost. And the reason being is because the Cubs can't find a way to extend guys, and they aren't winning. You know what? The Braves let Swanson go. They let Freeman go, even though that might have been on Freeman's agent, whatever. But you know what? People moved on. You know why? Because they win, and they continue to develop guys, and they find a way to extend other guys anyway. That's all I want the Cubs to do.
Yeah.
I just want the Cubs to find a way to keep core guys and be a consistent winner. That's literally all I want them to do. I'm not asking to win the
Yeah.
World Series every year. I'm just asking you to not be a disaster.
Well, that's the thing. If you can, if you can develop your future core, like the Cubs did this last time. If you can develop your own future core guys, so you could sign them for. I mean, if they can somehow pull off deals that the Braves are doing, more power to the Cubs and more power to Jed and the rest of the front office. But if you can sign them for, you know, relatively at market, maybe even a little under market contract extensions, all the rest of that money goes into signing those other stars in areas that they need them. And that's just what the Cubs, that's the ideal scenario for any team, really.
And those guys are the guys we talked about for the Braves. A lot of them have a more proven sample size than Nico Horner does. Not that I wouldn't sign Nico, I would. I'm just saying, like, yeah, they signed a bunch of guys. The Cubs don't have those guys necessarily a group that large to give those deals to you just yet.
Yeah.
I am surprised Cody didn't go with ready to be hurt again in 2023.
Yeah,
I thought that was going to be one, but
I'm
we
optimistic
it.
we
about
can only
next
do
year.
3, so
That's his honorable
I'm
mention.
optimistic for next year.
staying
all right?
positive. Thanks for checking out the CHGO Cubs podcast presented by DraftKings, America's top-rated sports book. Make sure you download the app. Use the promo code CHGO when you sign up. Ryan and I are back with the Pitch Doctor tomorrow.
I'm taking a vacation day tomorrow.
Cody's leaving us.
Cody's taking off. He's saying so long, 2022. We will see you tomorrow. Ryan and I will. And until then,
See y'all in 2023.
fly the W.